This podcast is titled, Does My Smile Confuse You? It is a diet for the mind. There is an old diet that was given by a guru in the physical realm. His quote is this: if it tastes good, spit it out. You're going to have a 7-course meal with fine wine, killer dessert, and we will intersperse a lot of junk food because it tastes good. Okay, and the title of today's show is There Are No Facts, Only Interpretations.
Ooh.
Okay, so that's a Nietzsche quote. It's right up there with the other one we love, some men are born posthumously. Okay, so I know that's why it's taken me this long to do this dumb podcast, which is the most vital, important podcast ever, because we're selling something, which we're going to get into. And I'm not afraid to say it, we're selling it.
Well, there's value.
It has value, it has purpose, it has meaning. It involves, what's our favorite word, play. You have to have a playful attitude, connected with your sense of humor, connected with your comic sense. And let's throw it out there right now. Comic sense, we're betting the farm. I could debate anybody with you and Rain and whoever else. Comic sense is more important than common sense.
Ooh.
Because common sense, the joke, ain't that common. So that's a great foundation to help people really understand something they know.
Yeah.
I've traveled now all around everywhere I go. I ask people in any part of the world, culturally. I was with all these Mexicans in Cabo San Lucas and all throughout Mexico. And I said, you know what I love about Latins and you Mexicans, God bless you, you have your own sense of humor. And they really do. And culturally, people
They embrace it more than anyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Italians have theirs. Japanese and Asian people have theirs.
Well, you know what's funny too is they all have their own sense of things, but for centuries, when you get a bunch of men together, we always joke about one thing: dicks.
Dicks.
Yeah.
Well, women and dicks.
Yeah,
because
women and dicks.
They're synonymous.
But we have, well, of course.
Who's ever said that? Which is ludicrous.
Human beings are the most creative in making these jokes
Right.
about men and dicks.
Right.
What's his name wrote a whole play
And
about
why
it.
are we doing it? Why are we doing it? Survival.
Survival. Yeah. I mean,
Okay. Survival.
Survival. I mean, really, it is survival because the pain of existence.
It's just
the pain of having a dick.
The pain. And what's our other title? Right?
Does your? What are you thinking? Does my smile confuse you?
No, it's the penis thing. It's the, oh God, my publisher wouldn't let me use, peace of mind over piece of ass.
Yeah.
Now I know in today's world, that title, no one could resist buying a book titled that. And my publisher is so straight. He goes, well, Daryl, that's funny and blah, 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 but we can't do that because he's really conservative. Yeah. So in philosophy, when I wrote Philosophy, which is our show, the #1 philosophy in psychology, now we're into it, that's it, Philosophy, with F-O-O-L-O-S.
Yeah, you're right.
So, because it combines the best psychology with the best philosophy. And that is comic sense. Because it's so simple at its fundamental roots. Humor we use to psychologically trick ourselves. It's like the ultimate antidote or placebo. Yes, but you're using your mind that's the part that's functioning. Although Osho believes not only is the mind control the sense of humor, he believes in the body. Part of the nervous system controls it because like you tickle children, and by the way, it has to be someone tickling them that is close to them. If a stranger tickles them, So in other words, the people close to you should really be able to tease you and have more fun with you. But it doesn't work that way in our families, tragically, all the time.
No, it doesn't, and that's why some people say you should be bullied. Because it is kind of a form of tickling, right? In a weird way, it's like
In a very strange way. Athletes do it.
we do it all. Yeah,
Trash
exactly.
talk, all that
Men,
stuff. You're right,
exactly.
Tony.
It's
I
like-
never thought about that.
I just thought of it now.
Yeah, but that's the fun thing when you're pushing the envelope and exposing a subject that's so vast, but yet we're trying to narrow it down so people can use it.
And you know what's even? I just thought of this now too. The people that are the biggest bulliers, they're the ones that probably want to be tickled the most.
Well, you're exhausting me. That's so true. It's
Right?
so true.
They're the
because
ones
they
that are-
want out. They don't want to be a bully.
They don't. They want to be accepted. They want to have fun. They want to laugh. They probably go home and their dad is beating them up. There's no joy in their home.
Yeah.
So they go out and they try to give out this thing that they're been giving when really they just want to play around with people. They
And-
want to be tickled.
You want to hear how right you are? Who tunes into the snipers that go up to the tower and shoot all those people? They were bullied. They were hurt.
Exactly.
They were crushed.
Columbine
by
kids.
Society. They
Yeah.
can't get women. Whether it's the Muslim world or whatever, they're so repressed and suppressed. They don't have any game. They can't communicate. They have no sense of humor. You got to incorporate it. But see, here's my problem. I believe everyone, I know this, has a sense of humor. Now, everybody's going to say, no, they don't. Because it's about telling jokes and being funny or having a quick wit. You don't always have to have a quick wit. It helps. And by the way, like anything, it can be developed. Because if you're having exchanges, when I got into sports, I was a shy, corpulent child. Like you, I was fat.
Yeah.
We
share that.
Exactly. And I was bullied, believe it or not.
So was I.
And so were you.
And did you find that when you were, corpulent and fat and all this stuff, you went to humor to survive in the group?
Self-protection.
Yeah.
To get through it, get through the,
I was trying to be funny. I did wacky things to gain approval. Things I'm not proud of, to do this because it was all to make people laugh.
Yeah.
Because when people were laughing, they weren't bullying you.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the actor that went to jail. He did like 6 or 7 TV shows. I'm floundering right now, trying to think of his name.
He was chubby?
He had all these, he has a contemporary show now, he's probably 75 or 80. But he had all these hit shows. He was the one that became a carpenter, the show.
Tim Allen?
Tim Allen.
Oh,
God,
yeah.
you're so good. You always guess it. Tim Allen went to prison for what? I don't know.
I didn't even know that.
He used his sense of humor to survive, to make the inmates laugh so they wouldn't, BF them, beat the shit, beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so all of this stuff, I mean, when you're up back against the wall, we even talked about this, and we're throwing a lot of stuff out there, but it's important because that way they can see all the various worlds we're taking them into. Remember Dr. Frankl's book?
Man's Search for Meaning.
Man's Search for Meaning. In the Holocaust, in the worst of all things, his last 3 chapters in his book that sold like 15 million copies, he talks about humor saving people. He said you have to overcome it because if you don't, if they see you can't work, you can't literally, not necessarily keep a smile on your face, but internally, that's why Jews are so amazing. Who's the best comedy writer? Jews.
For a century.
Jews. Then blacks, Irish. Everybody there's so many great, but you know what I'm saying.
Predominantly, they were the funniest. Larry David.
I pounded my speaker. It's okay. I don't care. Yeah, Larry David. I mean, they're like my favorite line for all the Jews I grew up with. I loved them all. I said, Jews are depressed at birth. And I said,
Well, they got the guilt. They're born with the guilt.
They're born with the guilt. They're
Yeah.
depressed. They're all this stuff. They can't leave it. It's their safety. It's their go-to. It's what motivates them.
Yeah.
They actually use it as motivation.
Well, and that's kind of what you're trying to teach people.
Yeah.
Is let the pain motivate you into using it into humor. Into let your anger become something to laugh at.
And now listen to this. This is so beautiful. So this is from a book, so our audience knows why read.
Well,
Because reading is obviously, we're trying
with
to
the
get people
YouTube, with Instagram, TikTok, all these things. Why read?
everything. But it's about, I don't know, 25 years ago it was published.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, Edmondson, is so great. And in the book, though, he talks about the sight of our, I love this, I have to read this slowly. It made me shake and vibrate because it meant so much to me. The sight of our, remember, I always said, I keep interrupting myself. I always said I do my best work in suffering.
Yeah.
Because I did. My nervous system, because of all my pain and suffering early, my nervous system got used to pain. So how was I to deal with it? Humor. Mm-hmm. Pain is the great teacher. Humor is the great healer. By the way, which is the subtitle of, well, not the subtitle, but it's the theme of our book. Anyhow, the sight of our sufferings, what Vandenberg called listen to this, the overfilled inner self, may also be the source of our cure.
Whoa.
I'm going to read that again.
Yeah, you might have to break that down.
We will. The sight of our sufferings, which Vandenberg called the overfilled inner self, may also be the source of our cure. So I'll get back to that. We are creatures who have the capacity to make ourselves sick, collectively and individually, but we often have the power to heal ourselves as well. Humor is a healing agent. It's the antidote, the elixir, give it any name you want to. But also what we tell people is that nobody's ever said this, tragedy, obviously, is horizontal. Let's cut right to it. Death.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah, you're laying flat.
Comedy is vertical. So it's about celebration. Fall down, go boom. Life is nothing but a series of comebacks. All these silly titles everybody knows. We're coming back from could be a broken heart, a bad business deal. In my case, it was sports and this and that. It could be something as simple as a bad meal. You're coming back from food poisoning, whatever it is,
Yeah.
And that's beautiful. So in that ability, we have to laugh.
And you always get the best laughs. When you go through something tough and you're like, oh man, you're with a bunch of people, and then you get on the other side of it, you go, remember when that happened?
Yeah.
And you laugh with people about it. And
Yeah.
it's like, that's the way, imagine we stood there and looked and said, it was your fault. It was your fault. It's
the blame game doesn't work.
Well, you hold anger in.
Well, we're giving people also a chance. And I did this very young. That's why I know we're on to something.
Oh, wow.
I discovered very young at 13, 14, that I was my own worst enemy. And do you realize how important that is? Most people go through their whole life blaming others, whether it's mom, dad, your cousin, your brother, your sister, the world. Plenty of blame everywhere. But what about you looking in the mirror and dealing with your own shit so you can have an inner life? And when I first met you, we talked about with no inner life, you have no life.
Yeah.
And we live in an external world.
And that part of my life you met me in too, I wasn't there with you, but as the conversation went on, I started talking a lot about self-love.
Yes.
Which kind of goes, it's very
and
similar.
your breakup with your girlfriend and all that
Yes.
stuff I went through with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you were on your way comeback.
100%.
Yeah, and that's, I think, part of the reason in reflection, analyzing it, why we became closer.
Yeah.
You knew that I was espousing something you knew in your interior world.
Yeah.
And that's to your credit. And then you got COVID so bad, and Tony at the time was 27 or 8.
27, yeah.
At the peak of your strength, you were working out. You never felt healthier. You never looked better.
Yeah.
You did all this stuff. And if you didn't do a lot of things, you might not have survived.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I was in the hospital twice.
Yeah.
I had I couldn't breathe on the 405. I thought I was going to crash into somebody and get in a whole mess of trouble.
I hear
mean,
Jordan Peterson, he can't even describe when he sits with Bill Maher or anybody else, and he talks about he should have been dead. His wife, daughter, it sounds like you know the story better than anybody.
Yeah, I mean, he had the addiction to the benzodiazepine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they couldn't diagnose or still haven't been able to. I remember Bill Maher, you were the one that turned me on to Peterson, to read his book and all that stuff. And subsequently, never having access to YouTube, I've watched him. I've enjoyed him immensely. I've watched, whether it's Sam Harris, Richard Dawkins, Hitchens, who I dearly miss, atheists all talking about this, or a rabbi and a priest talking about
It's fascinating, right?
It's so the contrast.
They're all there now at your fingertips, and you can learn these things, and you can be a part of these conversations.
Yeah.
I mean, we should be the smartest people. We should be the smartest group of people in civilization.
Yeah.
It turns out.
In the 21st
We just love in and out,
century.
tits and ass.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, but we know. Look, people know. I said 100 years ago. We are socially, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually retarded.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use the word retarded. We have advanced so much with technology, and now it's all coming out. Everybody's scared to death, the good and the bad of A&I. So everything has a duality. A&I, everything has a duality. We have a duality in our nature, dark and light. How do you move from the dark into the light? Again, laughter, and it's such a great byproduct of how we need to move through falling down, go boom. When you hurt yourself, get up laughing. And that's why we also say, tell every story of pain in a humorous vein. And the more you practice that, and that's what comics do. Comics stand on stage, and most of them, they'll tell you, well, my mother was fucked up, but I had to make her laugh. Howard Stern, Jim Carrey, they all had mothers that were crazy. I had a completely off the emotional chart crazy mother. She loved me so much, and she was the first person that both made me laugh and made me cry and scared the shit out of me. Because she'd leave the play mama, playing with me. And then as I grew, she was worried about me, going into the outside world.
Of course.
Oh, you're going to get hurt. Everything's going to happen to you. And she was right.
Yeah.
She
was right. Yeah,
all moms are right.
Yeah.
So, I ripped myself apart and came back home. And now on the back end, God love Mom, she was I told you so mom. So she covered, my mom was breathtaking. And she had high blood pressure. Here's a humorous way to do. We're going to talk about all these little things you can do, little nuanced things. So my mom's blood pressure was off the chart. So I put her blood pressure, I'd take it in the morning. And I'd put it, because she was also so demented, she wasn't supposed to drink coffee. And she only had 30 or 40 cups.
Oh, that's it.
And strong.
Yeah.
and strong. I said,
course.
yeah, Mom, have another cup. Get that blood pressure up there. What is it? 188 over,
Yeah.
two. Get up to
Oh,
about
man.
220 over,
Was she short?
Yeah, she was about 5'6", 5'5",
Oh, that's
which
okay.
wasn't,
Average.
But she just had to do this, and she was addicted to coffee.
Yeah.
So, because I was worried about her and something happening to her, I said, I better find a humorous way to take care of this. So I put a chart, and when she started to go for the third, fourth, fifth cup, I go, Mom, well, what cup is this? And she'd go, don't be funny. And she always said,
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
be funny. And of course, I'd proceed to try and be funny.
Yeah.
And she said, don't be funny. And I said, no, Mom, just tell me. Give me a rough number, 3 or 5. And I said, well, because I'm keeping track. And I said, why don't you have one more? Then I take her blood pressure. Because
Yeah.
the doctor said, I take her blood pressure. It was ridiculous. She was already in stroke mode.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
yeah. So I'm trying to bring it down while
Yeah.
using all my tactics available to a young kid, pretty much.
Right.
And so I'd go like this, and I'd leave the chart, and I said, well, Mom, I'm going to go to the field, play baseball, whatever. I said, I'll be back. And listen, if you're dead on the ground, remember, I loved you, and thank
Yeah.
you for being such a great mom. I did everything I could to get her to
Wow.
curtail her drinking. So these stories about family, just within your own family, the shit you can do and should do.
Yeah.
But if children learn to speak up, and that's the part I hate, and I believe we're going to get in over the next months the spirituality of comedy.
Yeah.
Do you realize nobody's ever talked about that?
No.
We're gonna demonstrate why comic sense is so, like we said, more important than common sense. All these things you're breaking, you and I, and the people we're gonna bring forward, breaking down a subject that everybody knows has so much value. That word you used earlier. It's so valuable. It's the single tool, antidote, elixir, call it what you want.
Is this what you're getting at when you talk about the quote that we talked about, which is, can you read it again? It talked about the cup being overfilled, but that's also the cure.
The cup being overfilled. I'm not sure about that.
There was the quote that you said earlier.
The cup being overfilled. No, I'm not sure about that. Well, you mean my mom's cup of coffee?
Well, that's what I'm kind of getting at a little bit, which is like, not that was the answer, but
it's something like this. Okay, but let's get back. So we're talking about interpretations. There are no facts, but interpretations, even though we're really talking about philosophy, common sense versus comic sense. Here arises a problem, and I'm just jumping in mid-sentence. We all know that there is no such thing as a perfect interpretation.
oh,
So there's so many different
wow.
interpretations
Yeah, of course.
of what humor and comedy mean because they're vast subjects. In fact, some of my glasses, I have to forgive me. In fact, some of the more sophisticated among us have come to believe that interpretation is by necessity interminable. And that's true.
And what does that mean exactly?
Well, it means that it's
Interminable.
impossible. If 4 people see a car wreck, it's endless. You may have 4 different versions of that car wreck.
Of what actually happened.
Exactly. And then I'll continue. It is a mark of shallowness to believe that we can get to the core of let's say a poem or a story or anything else Do I dare, so says the pro-frock, I don't know what that means, of contemporary academia. So they're saying that you can't get to that. And that's true. Your interpretation of something you see, that's why there's two sides to every story. So you start to look at it and break it down in those avenues.
Painting's worth 1,000 words.
There it is. And even, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Bourdain interviewed a very famous photographer, I think it was Cuba, and the photographer caught Bourdain off balance because he had always believed in that. A picture's worth 1,000. But the photographer and a writer, he was also a journalist, he said, well, no, that's not true. The angle of the camera, and think about that. So here we go again. You get a different interpretation from a different perspective because we're talking about perception and perspective. Once you open and change those avenues,
Right.
the way people view the world, remember the doors of perception. So people have tried LSD, all these things that are, surfacing again that we know can expand your consciousness. But we said, and nobody ever said that in the history of the world, comedy is consciousness. And so when I saw, once we started to put up our podcast, somebody had, because I've been putting this out here for 40 years.
Yeah.
And I'm with all the writers in Hollywood and the world, and they all steal. Good. I wish everybody were talking about what we're talking about.
Right.
So they had comedy and consciousness. Not the same as comedy is. Small word, but big meaning.
Yeah, that's like saying comedy plus consciousness versus comedy equals consciousness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So to expand your mind, reopen your heart. We've all been burned. We've all been hurt. We're all dysfunctional, which is why, again, humor and comedy is so great. I watched a movie last night, the tragedy of someone who did a lot of comedy, Diane Keaton. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so she had just bought this, oh my God. I've been in every home, billionaires, extravagant. She bought the most elegant, incredible, and people can now Google it, schmoogle it, look it up on YouTube and all that stuff. It's the most breathtaking house I've ever seen in Malibu.
Wow.
But Diane Keaton did so many comedies, and you go back and reflect on Annie Hall. And I got to watch Woody Allen being interviewed by Bill Maher.
Mm-hmm.
And that was very interesting. And I've been watching to talk about YouTube and why it affected me and why I wanted to do a podcast with you and a couple of my other friends is because it's such a great way to communicate to the world. Tragically, they're throwing in commercials now. It's being, turned
People got to get paid.
I know.
That's the sad.
And everything's about money.
Well, money is important.
It is.
Unfortunately.
It is, but
there's different values.
Yeah.
There's different values.
And I think as we arrive, because you're an actor.
Oh, God bless you.
Wow. You're an actor. And we talked about this in that book, Audition, that the number one tool of actors is humor.
Yeah.
So, Chekhov, Shakespeare, anything.
Oh, man, yeah. I mean, when you read Chekhov for the first time, I think everyone has the same feeling, which is like, oh, what a sad, experience.
Yeah.
Is
Beckett the same way?
Sam Beckett?
Yeah.
I think when I first started reading Samuel Beckett, I was more intermediate in like my understanding of things because I did a lot of Shakespeare, so I could feel the humor. You know, like Harold Pinter, like you can
Oh, I love
feel the
him.
humor.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
know.
like it's So I think I was a little bit more advanced when I was reading it and looking for the humor more and understanding it and kind of putting myself in that place. Because when you look down on the Chekhov stuff, you feel bad for these people. You know, it's so sad. But Chekhov, he does something interesting, which I only seen one other, and I'm going to steal it anytime I get a chance to write something. He always starts off with a party.
A party?
There's always a party. Any Chekhov play, there's a gathering, there's a party, there's a function.
And then the characters branch off from
Well,
there.
then the story goes, and there's always something sad that happens. It always ends It always ends kind of in a dysfunctional way.
The party itself or the
Well,
theme of the play?
no. It, like the first scene is a party, right? It's a gathering, and people,
Right.
and you get to meet all the characters, and it's kind of fun, and like, and then you know you can kind of get the humor of certain things. You know, like I think people can look at in The Seagull, for example, like Constantine, he's the main character. I forget the mom's name, but the relationship when you first read it is kind of sad because you're like, oh, she doesn't get it. It's like this guy he's so like the girl he loves falls in love with the writer and stuff, you know. But I think when you see it, when you understand it, and it's done right, it's actually you're laughing a little bit at how crazy the mom is to her son. You're kind of it's almost humorous the way that she's acting when her son is
Yeah.
in despair.
My mom was the same way.
You know, it's
She was emotionally crazy.
yeah. My mom, I think, is a little bit like
She
that,
scared
too.
me. So I laughed. The first time I laughed, it was out of fear. Because she went
Really?
from playful and loving and to this emotional, oh, something's
I know
wrong.
that makes me laugh too.
Yeah, and I did
Like when
it
you
as a
tickle somebody
defense
too much.
mechanism. Oh,
They call it stimulus overload.
yeah.
That's the phrase.
Oh,
now.
that's one of the big things.
Stimulus overload, and then they start freaking out.
We have a stimuli world, one of
Exactly.
the worst diseases. We need constant stimulation. So what we're talking about, if you don't have an inner life, you don't have a life.
And then if you think about it, we're in this place now where it's constant stimulation. Meanwhile, almost 200, let's say 200 years ago, let's say, the movement of transcendentalism, which is what I think is the philosophy of what makes, America great as like, an individual society.
I wish I knew more about that.
Well, that's like Emerson,
Oh, I love
that's
self-reliance.
self-reliance.
Yeah.
But they talk about going into the woods and going into nature, and experiencing that.
Henry David Thoreau.
Thoreau, yeah, exactly. Walden Pond,
Yeah.
These type of things are hard to understand. They're hard to grasp these ideas. I still don't understand it, but I think what's curious is that when we live in this world now versus that world then, these men back then were asking real questions, having real conversations, having real communities of guys that were trying to have an existence with one another through the pain of what it was.
Well, they didn't have TV and all these
They didn't have
distractions.
this, right?
and
No
all that
distractions.
stuff, yeah.
So now we're here in the modern society where I feel like we don't have all the pain that they had because of modern medicine and all the great things, TVs,
Yeah.
football, all the stuff that keeps us
Endless.
endless. But we
distraction.
lost our sense of community through the pain.
Yeah. The art of conversation, the art of storytelling. Throughout history, storytelling, number one way to learn and grow.
I mean,
And if people don't put down their fucking equipment,
fire, cooking, stories.
yeah,
This is what created humanity and
Yeah.
societies.
Yeah.
Because it was, you got to be around the fire,
yeah,
you got to eat with your tribe,
Yeah.
and then you told stories of the heroes
yeah,
that you had to try to animate in the world.
yeah. And sitting around the fire, think about what they had to do, because with all the security, we're off the chart with the security bullshit. Just imagine them, they find some cave. Well, they didn't have front doors with locks and
They had the bears walking into their house.
you're in the you're
They were
in the
sharing
cave.
with the cougars and jaguars. And,
There's I think it's The History of the World Part 2. And
was that a movie?
I befriended,
Yeah.
Sid Caesar, nobody will remember his name, but he was great. And I think Larry Gelbart either wrote that or something else, but Larry was telling me about it, reminding me about a story. And anybody will understand it. Sid Caesar is the head. There's no words in it. They were cavemen in the movie. And they're in a cave, and Sid Caesar is the biggest, strongest ape man in the cave. And all the families are sitting around, and the men, and they hire this clown, not really a jester, but a clown, to to entertain him and make them laugh. And you see 30 faces in the cave, and nobody's laughing. And they're just somber. They're just sitting there going, what a jackass. This guy isn't funny at all. And this is Schadenfreude. So guess what happens? A Tyrannosaurus Rex comes, sticks its head in the cave, picks up and swallows the guy. They all lose it laughing.
Schadenfreude.
That's Schadenfreude.
We live in a society of Schadenfreude.
The single word that's run our history is Schadenfreude. Guys, if you don't know what that word is, embrace it.
Well, you just told the best definition.
Did we?
You just
with
did.
The story.
That's the greatest example.
No, the story. So Jesus on the cross. It wasn't me on the cross. The mob was laughing. He's just there. I mean, it's so sad. And think of Jesus riding a donkey, dragging his feet on the ground, dressed like a homeless person. Right? He gives it a town.
Telling everybody they're God.
I'm the Son of God. Yeah.
No, truthfully, he was saying he was the Son of God, but really he was saying that we're all God.
Yeah.
That's really why they killed him. Because people were going, whoa.
We're
all God?
No,
and then everyone started going, yeah,
but
maybe you're right.
I want to digress because I know Joseph Campbell and myth. So they wouldn't embrace the fact that they could have a little part of God or be God themselves. So do you think that people cannot be their own hero? They need heroes? How do you feel about that? I want them to be their own hero.
No, you need both.
You do?
Of course, I think you do, because I think...
well, that makes sense, actually.
I think you need both. I think that people got to be their own hero, but it's very rare for a person, I think, to have just the integrity and will to be that man that rises up in the ranks and doesn't learn from anybody above them.
They need someone to push them, help them develop.
Well, a perfect example is, and I just learned this when I went to Rome, which is in the Vatican, right? They have all these pieces of art from the Roman times, for thousands of years they had it. And when in the Renaissance, Michelangelo, Da Vinci, Raphael, the Pope would invite these guys to come there and study the marble and the works of art that they already had, right? And they were thinking of art influencing the art of today. So you didn't think about it as stealing back then. They thought about, we could learn from these. So all the people that Michelangelo, and think about this, when we talked about facts and interpretation. In the Sistine Chapel, one of the greatest Western artworks, maybe one of the greatest artworks ever created, those don't look like real people. Those don't look like real people. It's because there's a broken marble statue that Michelangelo studied for weeks, and he based every single body off this broken marble statue that is in the Sistine Chapel.
Whoa, I've never heard that story over the years.
I never heard either, but when I was there, the tour guide told us about it. And when you go there, which if you're going to Italy, you got to go and check this out, because you walk through history through the Vatican of all the history, and you get to the point when one of my favorites. So you know why the Louvre has a lot of Roman art pieces? The Mona Lisa, right? Is in the Louvre, right? That's an Italian guy who drew it. Is because Napoleon, when he invaded the Vatican, he took a lot of the art. And some of the soldiers, they tagged their names in the Vatican.
No.
Human young men are the same no matter what generation. We want to tag our name. We want to write our name on stuff.
Oh, wow.
And there's all these French names on the walls carved into it, and they haven't kudos to them for not changing it, but they let it stay there. And so it's just this walk through history where you're like, this is where they found all these broken Roman statues that were, carved 2,000 years ago, 2,500 years ago. And it leads into the next space, and it gives it to the Renaissance, and it gives it to the, the people after that in Baroque.
God, that is fantastic. That
Not fact, interpretation.
Yeah, there it is. It can't be.
But so tying into the hero story, what I'm saying is why it's both, is because you don't get the Sistine Chapel and the beauty of what that is, and the musculature and the bodies that was created and what God looked like and stuff like that without that thing he looked on.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think, it doesn't matter that it's true or not true.
Right.
What matters is that value.
Boy, is that true?
Yeah, right.
It's not true. Yeah.
It's that story of what it means to somebody.
Yes.
And what they can do with it next.
Yeah, how you can use it.
Yeah.
Despite. Yeah, it's. What's also great about what we're talking about, comic sense and humor, is you can listen and interact with anybody, because you can separate the personality from the content of what they're saying or not saying. So therefore, two of our tenets in our book is always talk up to everyone, to people, and take everything as a compliment. And you know how hard that is to do? But
Right.
that's what I learned to do. John Dubin.
Because and I think what you're saying too is when it comes to philosophy, is people might think of you as a fool when you take everything as a compliment and you talk up to people. Even though I think talking up to people is in the same vein of manners, which
Respect,
which
everything.
is just something that
100%.
people before had a lot of. Why? Well, because
Yeah.
it was a tough world and you needed
Yeah.
to be.
That's the
your
sick
best.
part about throughout history, including Aristotle. They all got it wrong. Aristotle, they were talking down, okay, because.
I don't think Socrates was.
Oh no, not Socrates.
'Cause
But
Socrates-
Socrates didn't go far enough. I got to get this said. But
No, we'll go back to it.
addendum.
Yeah.
Know thyself. We're saying know thyself. Best way, laugh at thyself. Because the more you can laugh at yourself, the more you're going to be able to say, well, upon reflection, I was wrong in this situation. If you
Yeah.
come home and do your homework, you may say to that person, oh, I'm right. Yeah, I'm 100% right. I don't want to listen or talk about it. But if you do go home and you go, well, Tony said this, you know what? When I think about it, Tony might have something. I could be wrong. That's the beauty of humor. I could be wrong. Doubt.
Yeah, Roop.
I'm not, I've been wrong, I think, more than anybody I've ever known.
Well, and now I just thought of this. When you talk about we audition and
Yeah.
comedy being the greatest, what is I think the greatest curse or the biggest weakness of an artist? I'm right.
Yeah,
I know. When someone goes, I know,
no.
I know, and humor allows you to go, maybe I don't.
Yeah. So do you like directors? Because most of them, or the good ones, the really great ones, they don't want any deviation. No room for improvisation. And the Coen brothers, who are not arguably, I think they're head and shoulders above everybody. I know there's Scorsese and Coppola and all the greats, that generation.
Yeah.
But and Guy Ritchie I love. But the Coen brothers, my God, man, you can watch a movie so tough to watch, which is a great film, No Country for Old Men. And why are so many scenes so funny? When Javier Bardem goes into the gas station, that scene is so filled with, it's so tense.
Yeah.
and even the character actors they get are sensational.
Oh, I
that
know.
grocery guy,
Yeah, the
that
guy-
older
that-
man.
Yeah.
I mean,
And what I love about that scene is Bardem is like, he's the guy who can kill him. He's the guy who can kill him. But he's the one that's frustrated.
so frustrating.
He's the one that's
Right down. He can't take anymore. I
yeah,
gotta flip a coin.
Yeah, he goes, yeah.
And their camera work, the crushing of the peanuts or whatever he was eating.
Oh, I
he
don't
puts
remember
the
this.
empty bag. Oh yeah, he's eating something. He's picking a little piece of candy, and he takes the bag and he squeezes it and puts it down, and the camera comes in because that's what he's gonna do.
Right.
He wants to crush this fucking guy. He goes, "You have no idea what you're talking about." It comes,
Yeah.
it comes right after that, basically.
Yeah.
And they just cut to that. I mean, it's just when you analyze their films, it's breathtaking.
Well, how can they do a film like that and then they do Big Lebowski,
I know.
which is just one of the greatest comedy
Oh,
movies,
God, Raising Arizona.
Raising Arizona.
John Goodman should have gotten Oscars for all
I
of his
mean-
performances. I mean, they're just so good. Big Brother, what is it? Oh, Brother, where
Oh,
art
Brother, Where
thou?
Art Thou?
All their movies, even Intolerable Cruelty, A Sleeper.
Oh, I
Says
haven't
so much
seen
about
that.
attorneys. George Clooney, they got a great cast. It's a
Burn After Reading.
come on, Brad Pitt.
So underrated.
No, Brad Pitt he can do comedy
Yeah.
in his sleep. He's so great. What was the one where he's the Irish fighter or
Snatch.
Snatch?
Yeah, Snatch. Yeah. And you know why they?
That's Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, that's Guy Ritchie. And
That's Guy
I
Ritchie.
just heard this somewhere where he couldn't do the Irish accent that they wanted him to do, right?
He was. What
So
was
he
his
created
brogue?
his own. No, that's his own
that's
thing.
His own.
That's his own gibberish.
It's like Benicio del Toro in Usual Suspects.
Yeah.
Yeah, garble.
Yeah.
Garble. I mean, so there you go.
And what about Adam Sandler's movies too?
I haven't seen so many of Adam's.
You have to watch those because those movies have so much heart. Like one of my favorite movies
That's
of
sweet.
all time
That's sweet.
is Big Daddy. Have you
Yeah,
seen Big
which
Daddy?
I have not seen.
It's a must. I'd say watch it as soon as you can because I've seen it probably 30 times.
Jeez.
Because it's so funny,
Yeah.
you know, and you just got to watch it, and then we can talk about the funny parts about it.
Yeah.
But
Well, I
think-
want to, as we proceed, I told you, talking about movies, and
Yeah.
you have a much better memory and access.
but you have these gems that you know.
Yeah, there are ones that I know. And I'd even go back to the, W.C. Fields and Chaplin and Laurel and Hardy. People don't know about them, but
Yeah.
we can tell little stories or vignettes or just set it up, the scenes,
Right.
and then they'll understand it because
Yeah.
it's important.
I always find it fascinating, and I think this goes again with facts and interpretation, where you go, 2,000 years humans have been the same. We've been the same.
Yeah.
We've just been given different tools to understanding the moment that
Yeah.
we're in.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to judge the people of the past.
You used the word I like. Humor is a tool. It's a mental tool, and you can change. See, Rain, she'll be on our next podcast. Rain thinks it's cyclical, people can't change, it's all about patterns. Who can argue with that?
Yeah.
Of course it's true. So history repeats itself for a number of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you have a chance to give people a tool, which they know, that's why I believe we're going after a universal truth. I believe that any geography aside, everyone in the world has a sense of humor. If you allow that to flourish, if you can get them, if they don't buy so deeply into their dogma, whether it's religious or this or that, or like you said, I'm right and the whole world's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what people hate about politics now, is there's no consequence. Nobody will back down and say, I'm wrong. They will not admit it. And I don't care about Republican or Democrat. they're all, as far as politics is a waste of breath. I really,
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, you know, the blood that we all share
yeah.
it's the same.
We'll end with this. I think people, since I fell in love with YouTube and some of the guys I mentioned and gals that I'm watching, I'm really enjoying it because so many of them, they speak so well and they articulate themselves and they go after it, and you can tell the ones, because you have to care. We always say it a couple different ways. We say there's two kinds of people in the world: childlike and childish. And if you understand that, it's very important. And then the other ones are the people that see the world in black and white when it's a rainbow. And that's what's so great. Humor, a great quote a lady gave me, humor is the rainbow over suffering.
Oh.
And I really like that.
I like that too.
Yeah, so, you know.
You know why I like that a lot?
Why?
It's because you can't see, a rainbow is always there.
Yeah. Yeah.
A rainbow is always there. It's just you only really see it when the suffering is just happened.
Yeah, and I've been watching Jordan Peterson talking about humor and comedy. He gets it, even though he doesn't, you know, it's not
sometimes sometimes he's so intellectual with things.
He's too intellectual.
He's too intellectual with things sometimes, but I know there's a part of him that is a little kid, and you can see when it comes out. Which
he's interviewing comics.
You know, I met him, right?
No,
I met him.
You never told me that.
Oh yeah, I went to go see him speak at the YouTube Theater, and I waited afterwards to take a photo with him.
Wow.
And when I went up to him, everybody was handshake, all this.
Of course.
I went up to him and I gave him a big hug, and I could tell that it startled him. And I think I scared him a little bit. The guy gives you a hug, you know.
And I bet he didn't have security.
He giggled. No, he didn't have security.
He giggled?
He giggled. Yeah, he giggled.
That's a poignant story.
Yeah. And we just took and I said, you know, thanks for everything, you know. And he's like, yeah, sure, no problem. I took the photo.
Yeah, because you're a young guy, and they appreciate. And you know, we'll get into it more as we progress. Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, of course.
Is talking about religion and what he meant to young spirits.
Well, and what I wanted to do, and I think the reason why I wanted to give him a big hug and all that stuff and sort of be more animated and emotional was because you talk about such heavy things that he was talking about. You know, I think it was his Wrestle with God tour.
For sure.
And it's just like, dude, here's a hug.
Yeah.
Get out of the intellectual a little bit.
That's really smart.
You know, well, and also I would, you know, I think it's good for everyone just to get a hug sometimes.
You know, he's kind of controlled because he
needs to be, right?
But at the same time, he's so, you can see his mind working. He does. See what he does with his fingers when he starts moving them. He's trying to think. And Elon Musk, who I love because he's childlike. And now look at him opening up with his emotional, stuff. Because he told Bill Maher on his interview in the beginning of the show years ago when they did it, he said to Bill, well, I'm not really happy because there's two things, there's work and there's love. And he said, I have the one, but I don't have the other. And so he's kind of a guy that's hurting, trying to find that connection with.
One of my favorite stories that I heard about him was like he was at a board meeting.
Yeah.
And people were giving a presentation. And his like kid came up to him and started showing him a video of was it maybe Life of Brian or a Monty Python skit, right? And in the middle, he starts laughing and starts showing the other people the skit, the Monty Python. He loves the Monty Python stuff, which I do too.
Well, sure.
You know what I mean? When they're on the, the Crusade, the Holy Grail one. I mean, they're on the horses, but they're just walking.
It's just fantastic.
Life of Brian.
Yeah. Well, talk about great humor. The swordsman. He loses.
Oh, yeah.
He loses his arm.
Yeah.
He loses a leg, and he loses just down what? No arms, no legs.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Come back here, you coward!"
Or when in the Robin Hood one, the guy, his mole keeps moving,
Oh.
and he goes, "What is it? Is it your mole?"
Wasn't that Mike Myers that said, "Whatever you do," and one of his I miss Mike Myers.
Oh, Austin. I do too.
Where
Mike.
the guy had a mole, and he said,
yeah.
"Whatever you do, don't look at the mole."
Yeah.
And of course, the guy was, it was
Goldmember.
It was Goldmember, and he couldn't take his eyes off.
Yeah. One of my favorite lines in Goldmember that is by Michael Caine.
Yeah.
And it's when he goes, "There's only two things I can't stand in this world." And the Goldmember, the Dutch guy, he's like, "Oh, okay." You know, he's got a gun pointed at him. He's like, "Okay, what is it?" He goes, "People intolerant of other people's cultures." And Austin's like, "Yeah, okay, great." And then he goes, "The second thing, the Dutch." And then Scheiße.
Oh, that's so great.
Sets you right up to just
fantastic.
boom.
Well, there's so much to talk about, but here's how we're going to end Foolosophy, and the following shows are going to we'll continue in all these themes. So you give them a little. You go a little deeper with that, and here's my Harpo Marx. So that's how we end our shows. So
Beautiful.
go out there and make a lot of noise. Bell Brooks said it. You're here for a short time. Go out and flap your wings and make a lot of noise. So we'll see you on our next. We may not see you. In our next.
I'll be around though.
Our next podcast. Thanks for nothing. Good night.